around lunchtime? Like, you would still get hungry.
Yeah, I usually felt really hungry.
But then you would just get sick afterwards.
Yeah.
The more you know. What were we talking about?
Oh yeah, just feeling safe by Agnes Scott, sorry.
Yeah.
This window scares me so much.
Really?
I hope... I'm asking my mom if we can get, like, blinds or something, because one time I was down here watching TV, and my dad likes to hang out by the fireplace over there.
Yeah.
So he, like, walked by, I'm like, I called my mom, like, Mom, there's
somebody.
And I,
That
like,
is kinda
froze.
scary.
It's terrifying to me.
Yeah, our front door is just windows.
Yeah.
And that freaks me out at night, like, if I'm downstairs, because there could just be somebody just, like, standing there.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do? What do you do when someone's just
I don't even
standing
know.
there staring at you?
My heart literally dropped, because, like, I knew they, like, went to Kroger or something, and so I knew they were, like, gone, so I'm like, okay, it's not anyone here, but, like, apparently my dad, like, just got mad, so he just started chilling, hanging out over there, and my mom was just in the car, so I didn't hear the door open.
Gotcha.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to die. They saw me down here watching Big Time Rush.
They think you're, like, 12.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah,
it's terrifying.
It is scary. I am going to a big college, and my mom, she tells me this, like, a little too often, so it makes me, like, a little uncomfortable, but she's always telling me, like, she's afraid someone's gonna, like, take advantage of me at BYU, which, there's a couple of reasons why I don't think that's gonna happen. First of all, it's a religious school. I'm not saying that everybody there is, like, an angel, but I feel like that hopefully significantly decreases the number of pervs that are there.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's still going to be a
going
few.
there, so.
Oh, freak! I am no longer safe. But, also, they have really strict rules about, like, curfew and boys and girls in different...
You're not allowed to talk to each other.
Yeah. And, you know, what's that book we read in AP Lang? Was it AP Lang?
Oh, Handmaid's Tale?
Handmaid's Tale, you know those? I have to wear those. Those little, like, blinders. So I can't look at them. Yeah, but, so they have really strict rules about, like, having boys and girls in, like, your dorms, and, like, you can do it, but they have specific visiting hours.
They have cooties after
2
o'clock.
And, like, the apartment style dorms that I'm staying in, they have things called chastity doors. It's not as bad as it sounds. It just means, like, when you walk in, there's 2 doors, like, to the apartment, and there's one that enters into the main living space with the living room and the kitchen, and the other that enters into, like, the 3 bedrooms and the bathrooms, and the doors, they, like, close. Like, they won't stay open on their own unless you have a door stopper.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense, like, they're, like, weighted. So they call them chastity doors so that if someone walks into your living space, they can't see down your hallway into your bedrooms, and you can't see people walking from the bathroom to the bedroom and stuff.
Oh.
I don't know why they call them chastity doors, but, like, basically. So if you get out of your bathroom and you're just in a towel, like, it's... And you can lock your bedroom door and everything. So, not that that's gonna keep me safe from someone who's gonna, like...
Just walking in a towel.
But also, with this coronavirus thing going on, I don't know if I'm ever gonna see, like, anybody except for my roommates. Which sucks. But, like, it is what it is, you know?
She did okay, get to me.
What?
Nothing, you just said something that reminded me of Hot Girl Summer.
Hot Girl Summer. Maybe they'll have virtual, like, social gatherings.
Virtual?
And then I can go on a virtual date.
It would just be me. I heard his name is Chad, and he likes fishing, and it's just like, I hacked into the system!
Gosh, I can't get away from you. That'd be really funny, though. I'd probably be so mad at you, because, like, I would have gotten primped and, like, ready. And then I, like, open the camera, and it's, like, you, like...
It's me and a mustache.
Yeah, I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
I just, like, put a random dude's, like, picture on the profile.
Gosh.
Whose picture should I put? Who would, like, make you, like...
Ryan Higa.
Yeah, I put Ryan Higa.
Is he still dating that one girl?
I think they are.
Because I feel like they haven't posted about each other lately.
I don't really pay attention.
It makes me nervous because I like them together.
Yeah, I do. She was on this TV show that I like, so I was so excited when I
What
found
is
out
it?
they were dating. Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't watched it. I probably
You
should.
shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Oh.
I no. It's okay. It's just I became too obsessed with it, and it's
fair
not.
enough.
I don't think you will, but just why was I so obsessed with it? It was just a bunch of shirtless. Okay, that's why.
Yeah. I'd be into that. Get me in the right mood.
It's just really cringy. It's an okay show, but I like watched all 7 seasons in like the span of like a month.
7 seasons. Fair enough.
Yeah.
How long were the episodes? Like an hour?
Yeah, like it was for like 30, 40 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
I love that show. I remember it was right when I got my braces, because I was like down here just chilling, just watching. I was in so much pain, but I was like, oh, Tyler Posey. And
I have to get my wisdom teeth out soon.
we should film it just like,
I'll invite you.
oh, I can be the driver.
Designated driver. I think it's gonna be over Thanksgiving break.
Oh, okay.
So
I really want to someday do the oh my goodness, I'm like out of frame. I want to someday do the cabin thing or do some type of a vacation thing because I need a vacation.
we're backpacking across Europe.
Yeah, we
graduate
are.
from college.
When we graduate. Okay, I thought it was something.
Oh, when are we gonna do
I
it?
think I thought you said a different day.
Or we could both study abroad, but like at the same place.
Yeah.
I don't know if we could coordinate that.
We'll probably
France would be cool.
once you find out where your mission
Spain.
is.
Oh yeah, we could study
Just-
abroad there,
Yeah.
and then I can like give you discussions and
Mhm.
stuff. But ultimately, I'm just going to hang out. But you'll probably have to learn the language, because I'll probably have to learn the language.
Oh, I didn't know what language you're referring to. It's like, is it like a different?
No, like if we go to France, I would to go to France on my mission. That would probably like it'd probably be hard because people in France are like, not that I met every single person in France, like no, I know what everybody's like, but
Yeah.
from an American perspective with who didn't know the language, they're very impatient with like people who don't. Not everybody was. Like, when I went to the high school, like, people my age, it was the worst. But, like, and also, everybody's so fashionable there that I feel like I would feel so ugly, like, all the time. But the language is beautiful.
Yeah.
Et baby, bonjour, baguette.
What did that one guy say where they're like, he said something that was just kind of weird the way
Oh
that
my
he
gosh.
said it.
We had like we went to when I went on a field trip to France, which is crazy. Saying that is crazy. I was really blessed. But anyways, for marching band, and we went to a private French school, which was from the way they described it, it sounded like it was going to be really prestigious. Like they were going to be super prissy and stuff. And then we showed up, and not that it wasn't a nice school, like I'm sure it was a fine school, but like there were students there that smelled like literally like alcohol and like smoke, and that might just be like French culture or whatever, I don't know. Anyways, and it also sounded like they were going to be fluent in English, and they were going to just try to use it as like a second language with us. They did not know very much English at all, so there was a lot of communication issues. Which is fine. Like, I wasn't offended that they didn't know English, because I don't know French, and I was in France. Anyways, and we had this, like, list of questions that were in English, and they were reading it to us, and we had to answer them, and they had to, like, write it down and stuff. And one of the question was, they were like, it was, like, normal stuff, like, what are the stereotypes you thought of French people before you came here? Are they true? Blah, 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 blah. And then they asked, so, do the French make the best lovers? And we were like, ah, because I think in their minds, like the what do you call it? Language barrier or something like that. Like the translation to them was like, are they good at like a good significant other? Are they good at being in relationships? But it just sounded like, are they good at doing the hanky panky? Mm-hmm. And we were like, I mean, I don't know. I maybe. It was funny. The principal looked like he had jaundice. We talked about that a lot. Anyway.
What is that?
Sorry. When you're like, you have problems with your kidney function, and so your skin gets yellow.
Oh.
He was pretty yellow. No, hopefully he's not watching this. I get hate mail from him.
He's one of the 3 viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would.
It was such a weird experience. Everybody is so attractive there. It might also just be like the stigma or whatever about French people that everybody's so sexy, but like, it's kind of true. Like everybody in France, maybe it's just the vibes.
Yeah.
And also the guys are fashionable. I saw so many men wearing scarves.
Yeah, I've never seen an in-person guy that's fashionable.
It was like, why can't American boys wear scarves and like nice shoes? Why don't boys wear nice shoes?
I mean, I think I'm on fashion TikTok, so I see a lot of that.
Really?
They're usually gay.
I saw this one TikTok where it was like me before. It was like just some.
Oh yeah,
guy.
me before quarantine.
No, it was like me before, like when I lived in America, and then me when I lived in Europe. And it was just this guy. He looked like he was a teenager, and like before he would wear like basketball shorts and like highlighter.
Yeah.
And then he went to Europe, and he was in like fit pants that fit, and like nice like sweaters and like scarves and nice shoes. I just don't understand where the disconnect is. Why do Americans? But also, I really like sweatpants, and people over there don't really wear sweatpants from what I saw, like out in public. So
just pants them.
Just pants. I don't want to make assumptions about everybody in Europe, but what I saw, everybody's sexy, everybody wears skirts, and dresses nicely, and there's a lot of smokers over there, too. Like, literally everywhere we walked. Sorry, I am talking a lot.
Okay. It's okay. I was just
like, we have moved from,
I'm thinking.
The night and day between what Hannah thinks about and what I think about. Like, Hannah over here, like, in 1778, and I'm like, yes, like, when I was in... This guy looked like he had, like, pretty yellow skin. It was really weird. I don't know. Bro, gosh.
Literally, sorry, speaking of, smoking, my mom hates the smell of smoke. Like,
I don't know anybody who likes it.
Yeah, I don't know, but, like, she gets so angry. Sorry, my pants are, like, I'm sorry, you're seeing a lot of thigh.
Thank goodness.
I
can't even say it's just me.
I know. I want you to objectify me.
Oh, you know me.
But whenever we're in a public space and my mom smells smoke, she screams, "Who is smoking in here?"
That
like, talking so to my brother and I, but making sure that whoever is smoking knows that she's upset. And so my brother and I always make fun of her for it, because, like, my brother's like, "You gotta get a shot," and blah, blah, blah. Because she has to make a big deal out of it, but she just hates the smell of smoke.
That's so funny.
And so she said, last night at dinner, she was saying something like, "I think the government should ban smoking altogether, like, and just do it in your house." She was so adamant.
That's really
and
funny.
so I'm just like, Mama, like, you can't force people to stop smoking, because it's just like, that's their right. It's just, she's like, well, is it their right to harm my nose? I don't know. But
I'm kind of agreeing with
your
mom on this. Like,
but the way that she just said it, and so then we started talking about paparazzi and how I just think it's weird that they're, like, interviewing these minors about their relationship, like, because they're, like, paparazzi videos of, like, people asking Charlie D'Amelio about her relationship, and I just think it's so creepy, and I think it should be illegal. So I'm like, I was just saying, like, people paparazzing minors should be illegal. So she's like, so you think people paparazzing minors should be illegal, but not smoking in public? And I'm like, Mom, that is not the same thing. Like that, like it. They're children, and you're worried about smoking right now. She's like, well, I just think that you should. Oh my goodness! But it's just really funny to me.
I get it. I think smoking is really nasty.
Yeah.
I'm glad that it's like going way down, but obviously vaping's becoming more popular.
Well, at least vape doesn't have a smell.
It smells better, but I feel like, some research is gonna come out years, maybe not even years from now, but just like it did for smoking, and people are gonna freak out, and it causes cancer and stuff. Yeah. It's the only reason why it's still popular is because it's new, and we just don't have enough research about it. But it's still damaging. Like, it's got nicotine in it. Like, you're just things like that make me so upset. Particularly smoking and vaping, because there's no other reason for you to do that. You're just literally, like, once you choose to do it, you are choosing to get addicted to something.
Yeah.
Because, like, not some guy, but I went to church recently, and he was talking about things like this and addictions, and it was like, he said, like, alcoholics don't drink to satisfy thirst, if that makes sense. You don't drink because you're thirsty. You drink for, like, emotional reasons and things, and, like, you drink for that emotional release and stuff, and I just, and then I saw, sorry, what did
I said ain't that the truth.
And then I was watching a movie, and this one girl said, like, in the movie, it was, like, obviously a line, but she said, like, I don't drink to feel better, I don't drink when I feel bad to feel better. I drink when I feel good to feel even better, if that makes sense. And so, like, if I were to drink, I would say that's a pretty good philosophy to try and avoid, like, drinking for the wrong reasons, if that makes sense. And so, sorry, we're getting into addiction now. You were talking about that, but, like, it's something that I'm very adamant about, and it's, like, a big reason why I'm religious, is because I've seen the effects of, like, addiction on a lot of family members, and, like, it makes me upset. It makes me, like, kind of like how you get, not that I don't get upset with racism and stuff, but, like, how you, like, are shaking, almost. Like, it hits so close to home for me that it makes me angry that people choose to do that to themselves and stuff. Like, like, disgusting. Disgusting. Sorry, go ahead.
Sorry. I don't know if it's appropriate. But one of my biggest fears about vaping is, people are always saying, oh, in a couple years they're going to find out something bad about it. Your kids are going to be genetically modified. But no, what my mind is thinking is that they're going to have superpowers. And I'm going to be the one that missed out on the golden opportunity to have superpowers. Like, they're going to, like
X-ray vision.
Yeah. They're going to get all these cool powers. And I'm going to be like, dang, I should have just took that vape.
I'm no scientist or anything, but I can almost guarantee you.
Yeah, they're probably just gonna be messed up, or their kids are.
Yeah, like, there's, oh gosh. I was watching this Dr. Phil, and there were,
sorry,
it was two cousins that got together, and they, like, were, like, they obviously did a lot of it for attention, but they would just post videos and pictures of them just, like, making out and stuff. And he asked them, he was like, do you realize that, like, you're increasing the possibility of birth defects by, like, I can't remember the exact number, it was, like, 7 times as much as normal. And they were like, it's just like if I were 40 and I were to have a baby. Like, it's the exact same. And he was like, no, it's not. Like, you were... Anyways. How do you look at your cousin and you're like, hey, boy...
Okay. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that I did.
Hold up.
I'm not saying that I ever did. I'm not saying I ever liked anyone in my family.
When I was younger, I kind of did. Like, when you're younger, and you're just
that was my point. I'm just saying, when you're young, you don't understand, like, social like taboo things, and so I've like picked this up from watching all these videos of like people posting on TikTok saying like if you find them attractive, and it's just like my weird taste addiction, and it's just like just weird cartoons, and it's just so telling that people don't realize like society's like what's it called, standard of attraction, that they like Lightning McQueen. They have a crush on Lightning McQueen, or like a random animal. It's just like,
there's
if
nothing
we didn't,
weird about that as a kid.
Yeah, there's nothing weird about it, but if we didn't have these taboos, would we be growing up thinking that it's okay to have a crush on I don't know, Nick the Fox from Zootopia? Because I had a crush on him, and I'm grown.
Yeah, that movie did not come out when we were young enough for that to be okay. But like, I think that it's horse. The taboos. Anyways, the taboos aren't just like social things that we just came out of nowhere. Like, there's a reason.
Yeah, there's a reason for them, of course.
It's weird to be attracted to animals, and it's weird to be attracted to
weird.
Cars. But, like, as a kid, it's, like, whatever, because they don't get it.
Just, like, imagine if we all just had that kid mentality, and we're just like,
gosh, that bug over there?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know, is it because of the aesthetic of the car, or is it because, like, the personality of the car? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I mean, personification, like, they have faces.
Yeah, they have faces.
But as a kid, like, I mean, as a kid, you're not thinking about bodies and like their facial structure. You're just kind of thinking like,
but I've seen like a lot of TikToks where they didn't even have faces. They're just like a train.
I think you sent me one. It was like a submarine.
Yeah, it did not have a face on it. It was just
I don't recall ever being attracted to inanimate objects.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny to me that people willingly post
it has to be a joke. Like, it has to be a joke.
I mean, I
or not. Maybe it's not.
I'm saying I agreed with some of them. Like, some of them were just weird. They're just creepy. Like, it was just like a bunch of old men, and but like some of them I could see where they're coming from.
At least
like
they're people.
Like, yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but that just made me think about how kids see crushes, because it's just so innocent. Like, people don't understand crushes. Like, my mom said that I was obsessed with tall boys when I was little, because like, she said that I did not talk to the women at my church, but whenever a dude, like a teenager, came over, I'm like,
hey, that's so funny. I didn't talk to anybody. I vividly remember in elementary school, my two best friends were like, I can't remember what grade this was, but there was like a year or two where my two best friends were these like two black boys.
It was me.
And like, I don't know why, whenever I think of elementary school, I recall these memories where we would go out to, like, not the playground, like, everyone would be playing on the playground, and the three of us would go over to, like, where there was just dirt, and we would just dig.
Yeah. We should do that.
That was, like, 2 years of my elementary school life, and I feel like I had a crush on one of them. I just can't remember which. I don't remember their names. I don't really remember what they look like all that much. Yeah. I just remember being, like, even then, I was just thinking, like, this is the life. Yeah. Like, just digging holes with my bros.
Hold on tight. Bro,
even back then, I was a little weird. Because I like to dig holes.
When was the first time you realized your gender was a barrier?
Oh my gosh. That's a good question.
I remember the
specific moment. Yeah. I'd say my first memories would be, because I grew up in a house with all boys. Yeah. I would say, like, coming on Sundays, when I would come downstairs in, like, a pretty dress or something, and my dad would say something, like, he wouldn't say anything to my brothers, but he felt like he was like, kind of obligated to say something about how I looked. So I'd come downstairs, and he'd be like, you look pretty, or you look good. And even now, it's weird to me, because I'm the only one he says that to. And it just makes me feel weird. I don't know why, but I don't like it. Like, I'm like, I'd rather you not say anything, honestly.
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to feel like you're obligated to say that I look nice just because I'm a girl. Not that that was really a barrier, I guess.
But, yeah,
it makes me feel weird.
Yeah, it makes me feel weird, too, because, like, something, I called my dad out about it. It's just because he is always, like, telling my brothers that you need to respect women, and you need to open the door, and he's always done that stuff for me, and so I'm like, Dad, because I'm just a feminist.
Yeah.
I've always been like, don't open the door for me.
Gotcha.
That was kind of rude, but he was just trying to be nice, but he never did it for my brothers, and that's the main reason I was so against it. It's just because they deserve to have
the door open for them.
It shouldn't be like a
gender specific.
Yeah.
I get that. That makes sense. But I will say, if, like, the old, like, I don't know if you call it, like, Southern charm or chivalry or whatever, that does kind of melt me a little bit. I don't know if that makes me not a feminist or whatever.
No, that's
but, like, when he's like, my lady, I'm like, not that that's ever happened.
Wow.
Well, I guess the one guy that I did sort of date, like, he was very much like that, and that did make me feel really, like, nice. But I also agree that, like, that should be general kindness, not just, oh, there's a girl coming, there's a woman, we gotta...
I hope that the boy that I date, if he does do all that stuff, it's not because he thinks that he should be doing it because I'm a girl. Yeah. I think he should do it because he respects me enough as a person that he wants to go out of his way to make sure that
I don't want him to look at it like a chore.
Yeah.
That it's part of the package because I'm a woman. More so, it's like an opportunity for him to serve me because he loves me and because he loves who I am. And I would feel the same way about doing stuff for him.
Yeah.
Like, if I could open the door for him or pull out his chair, like, I would, because I love who he is and I love him as a person and I want to be kind to him. Like, not because he's a boy and I'm a girl and I feel obligated to do that because that's our relationship.
Yeah, just to try to prove something. But, like, it doesn't even have to be the same thing. It's like you could feel love in different ways. Like, if that's how he shows love, that's how he shows love. If I show love by doing other things, that's just it. It doesn't have to be the same exact thing. It doesn't have to be like a showing, like, proving something that you're an activist or radical or something like that. It doesn't have to be that. It could just be like you just doing it out of just your love for that person.
Honestly.
And it doesn't have to mean anything.
What is your love language? Do you know?
I don't know. I feel like it's touch, but I just feel I don't know. I just grew up without a lot of touch that I feel like it's not my love language. It's just that I'm just like I feel like I need it, but like I always feel so awkward when it happens.
Yeah.
And I want to like it, but it's just like I'm just so used to not having it that it just makes me uncomfortable.
I feel that too. I was thinking about this lately that like I don't have a very touchy-feely relationships with my friends. I would say more so with like guard girls.
Yeah.
Just because we were in such like an intimate sport and like there would be times where we would just be like basically butt naked around each other. Like there's not a whole lot of boundaries.
Yeah.
And so, but, like, with, like, you and I feel like are both uncomfortable with touch. Yeah. So we aren't obviously we're, like, we're sitting very far apart. We have not touched each other this entire time. I'm just not one of those people to be like, ha, 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 ha. Because, again, like you did, in my household, we just don't really, like, touch each other all that much.
Yeah.
And I crave it because I feel like that's a natural human thing, but I don't know how to go about it.
Yeah, I notice myself just feeling like I just want a hug, and like I can easily go ask my mom for a hug, but I don't know. It just feels like my mom. She whenever she gets overwhelmed with emotion, she likes to hug, and so I do too. But it's just like it's my mom. I kind of want like a friend. Is it weird to like only want like a friend? And so like. It's the same thing with my spivey friends as, like, guard people. It's, like, we always hug each other. Like, whenever we see each other, we always hug each other. Gotcha. Whether it's the dudes, whether it's the girls, whether it's the teachers. That's just how everyone in the Spivey shows love. We just love, like, if we're just sitting down, we just love, like, holding hands, stuff like that. That's just how we do it. So I'm just, whenever I do it with them, I just feel, it forced me to, like, just, like, I needed this so bad. And so I, like, want to do it, but then it just makes me feel so uncomfortable, and I don't know. Yeah. And I want to, like, just go up and, like, hug my friend sometimes, but then it's just, like, that's so weird. But I don't know. It's just it's just conflicting in my head. Yeah.
And that's another reason why I was thinking about this again lately too. I don't think I'd want to have, like, a romance stem from a friendship. Like, I think it'd be cool for some reasons, but crossing that line of, like, we used to be friends and we didn't do these things, and now there's, like, all these weird questions, like, I don't want to ruin our friendship, but, like, like, that's kind of how I felt, again, with the guy that I almost sort of kind of dated. Like, we didn't know how to, like, if we had met each other and initially started dating, I think it would have been easier to, like, hold each other's hand and, like, him to put his arm around me and stuff, because there wouldn't have been a question of, like, do we feel the same way, or do you still feel like a friend, do you still feel like, or do you feel more romantic or whatever. So, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like physical touch, if you started from the get-go, like, if we had started, like, in 6th grade, just being all over each other, I think we would be fine with it now. But now, we don't.
Like, I think we've hugged a total of 3 times.
Like, we could count it on one hand. And it's not that, like, we don't love each other, we don't care for each other, we just don't, like, that's just not how we show love to each other.
Yeah.
We don't at all,
We just don't like being in the vicinity of each other.
Yeah, we just don't, like, looking at her, much less touching her. Anyways, no, but also, I think it's interesting how, like, your love language could be one thing, but the way you show love is a different thing. Yeah. I realized that with my mom recently, because my love language, I believe, is words of affirmation. And so when people, because I've noticed when the opposite happens, when people say mean things, it cuts me deep. Like, I really believe, like, words have incredible power. And my mom is sometimes not very careful with the words she uses with me and the way she talks around me. So, like, recently we got into a fight because she said something that really hurt my feelings. And then I confronted her about it, and I was like, I just want to explain to you, like, this is how I feel love, and so when you do the exact opposite, it hurts me, and, like, I am wounded by it. Like, I know I'm sounding dramatic, but, like, that's how I feel. And she was like, my love language is the same, but I, like, show it by, like, acts of service, I think is what she said. And so she'll, like, go and, like, she'll do things for you. Yeah. Even though she knows, like, even though what she craves are words. It's so weird. And I think for me, I would say mine is probably pretty similar. It's probably, like, acts of service or, like, I don't know, just, like, little things like that. Like, I don't know if words are how I really show. You know what I'm saying?
I think it changes for me, because, like, I feel like with people I've known for a long time, like, I guess you, because you know that whenever, like, throughout middle school, whenever, like, Megan was, like, feeling upset, I always, it wasn't just Megan, it was just other friends, too. I always just felt the need to, like, give them something, because, like, I'm not good at, talking, so I don't know how to just sit there and, like, listen, so I always just,
like, do you want me to bring you something?
Yeah. I always just get them stuff, and that's just how I do it. It's not the best way, but
do you think your love language is gifts?
But I don't do that for everyone. I've only done it for, like, you, and, like, that one time I apologized to someone. But I do it for you and my mom. That's weird. But, like, the other times I just like to compliment people. And I feel like I do that with other friends. But I know that I need validation. I was thinking about this at work. I'm just like, I literally need validation. And it's something I do need to work on, but, like, I just feel so much better when someone says, just good job. Because I remember I came into my mom's room, my mom's office, and I was so proud because I got on top of my college stuff, and because I had a meeting with my counselor. And so I just went through all the stuff that I needed to talk about, and I just wrote it down. And I was so excited. I like went into a room, and so like I just remembered me thinking in my brain, like waiting for her to say, "Oh, that's such a good job," and I was like waiting, and then she never said it. So I just felt so sad that she never said it. It's like she said, like, "Oh, this is great. This is awesome. You're on top of it." But she never said like, "Oh, this is such a good job." And so, because she usually does say that, and I just get so excited, like telling her stuff like this. But then when she doesn't do it, I'm just like, dang. And I just felt awkward, like saying like, "Oh, are you not gonna like say I did a good job?" And I'm just like walked away, like, okay. But yeah.
Why do you think that is? You don't have to answer that if it's like trauma, but like
I don't know if it's trauma. I just think I don't know. My mom said I've always been complimented, and maybe that's it. I don't remember being complimented. I think I'm usually complimented by adults. I'm not usually complimented by peers. Like if it's my friends, like just like if I'm wearing something nice, I'm complimented, or post something on Instagram, yeah. But like just in general, I'm not told I did a good job on something by like peers. It's only my mom.
yeah.
So I think I just want other sources of validation from different people. So I don't know. This little bug.
Oh my god.
I don't know. But yeah, say that I look pretty. You look pretty. Thank you.
That makes sense. Like, I get what you're saying too. Like, I think it's harder for peers to say good job on things that aren't superficial because we have this weird like competitive nature. I feel like when we're particularly at like school, if you're like in the same grade. I don't know if it's the same for college but like in high school, it's hard to be like good job on that test because we both took that test.
Yeah.
And it's not competitive at all. And I'm guilty of this. Like, I've tried really hard senior year not to let that affect me. But it's hard not to compare yourself.
Yeah.
When you're taking the exact same test with the exact same teacher and the exact same class. Like, it's hard not to compare yourself. So I can see how it's hard to get validation from peers. Could delve into a whole different...
Yeah.
That's why we seek it so much, because we never get it.
Yeah, sometimes I have to force myself to do it, because something I've noticed is it's so easy for me to, like, congratulate my friends when they do a good job, or when they accomplish something, but I have such a hard time doing it with my family. And, like, because Nigel, he's I'll say it right here, he's not going to watch this, but Nigel is doing really, really well. And he got an internship from Apple. Like, they sent him, like, a whole computer. It's not like he's not going to keep it, but it's just, like, for this internship. And he's getting paid, and he's, like, just on his grind. He's been working literally all summer, like, with this little club thing that he's in. And he was, like, in this, like, competition or something like that. But he's been really on it. But I just feel like I'm forcing myself to say good job, because I'm really proud of him. But it's also just a little bit of jealousy. But also, I feel really proud of him. And my mom constantly has to tell us, because we are both very successful in what we do. So we always argue with each other, saying like, "Well, I went to Italy. Well, I did this. Well, I did this." And so we just do that a lot. So I think it makes it hard for me to like congratulate him, because it makes me feel like I don't know. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not him.
Yeah.
And my mom has to remind us this all the time. We are both very different people. He's more outgoing than I am. He is more sociable and, like, he's more charismatic than I am. I wouldn't say charismatic, but he's able to hold a conversation with a random person way better. I don't know how he does it.
I think that's, like, I hate, like, separating boys and girls, but, like, when boys don't have all those things that girls are thinking about and stuff, like, I feel like it's easier for boys to become social butterflies simply just because of how society's structured. But, like, not that he has no credit to him whatsoever. I'm just saying that.
But he's just my mom says that he like literally he was the first person like out of all my siblings to talk first.
Really?
Because he just talked a lot as a baby.
Oh wow.
And he just loves talking to random people about politics and about like economics and stuff. It's really really boring stuff that I just don't care about.
Yeah.
But he just is able to do it, and so I just feel bad about myself that I can't do it. I try to force myself to to talk to people and be like as social as he is, but I just don't have it in me. And like people, some of my friends' parents literally say, "Oh, that Nigel kid, he's going places." I'm like,
what about
me?
I am
what
right
in
here.
the world?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just
funny.
weird.
Yeah, I think, I don't know. I will say I do recognize that you are very good, like, with your friends. Like, when they do something, you are very ready to, like, congratulate them for it, which is something that's really hard to find in people your age. Like, I have a hard time doing that, and either because I'm oblivious to it, because I am a very oblivious person, or, like, I feel some sort of like mixed like competitive feelings, which I try really hard not to feel, and every time I feel them I feel incredibly guilty for feeling them. But then again, I don't want to congratulate someone because I feel guilty, so I have this like weird conversation every time a peer does something well. And then also I have a hard time congratulating family members. I don't know if I would have, if I have as much of a hard time as you do, but I feel like your brother, Nigel, and your interests might overlap a little bit more than, not much, but like a little bit more than like my brother's interests and I, like the ones I have and they have. Like Hayden and I are successfully in different ways. Like kind of like Nigel, he's more social. Like he won homecoming king or like prince.
He didn't
like
win.
That.
He just was on court.
No, he did win.
Nigel?
No.
Oh, I thought you were talking about
my
okay.
Brother. And
okay,
was
he was on homecoming court.
Yeah, he was on court, and my brother
he won.
He won.
What? How did I forget?
I think he was a junior, so it'd make him like Prince or something like that.
Okay, so
I don't know.
So it was what?
This past homecoming season, and so like it's weird. Like, but I had a hard time congratulating him for that because that is such a weird like. Because we go to the same high school, we have our friend groups kind of overlap and everything, and he and I had an argument about it, I think, because I had been kind of a jerk, because we got into a fight like the same night that he won, and he got mad because I was like fighting with him, and he thought it was out of jealousy, and I think part of it was without me realizing it and stuff, and it was just not, like, I was in the wrong, for sure, and so it's just weird. I wish I could be more humble and, like, more, like, ready, like, just that I could separate my path from everybody else's. Like, they're not intertwined whatsoever. Like, I mean, they are, but not in that way where I'm competing with them. Like, it's not a race.
Yeah.
In any sense of the word.
Yeah. And I do the same thing. I don't think I ever complimented or said good job to Nigel on getting on homecoming court, because that was a goal of mine, and I don't think I ever said anything to him directly about it. I'm just like, oh, he's on homecoming court, and he really wanted me to be there, but I had an orchestra concert that night for KSU, and so but people, literally family came down to see him.
That would be tough.
And I feel really bad because I never said anything, because that was just a dream of mine to get on homecoming court. It's a really like selfish kind of what's it called, superficial dream.
I mean,
but it was just something I really wanted, and I felt really bad asking my friends to, because one friend was like, I'm not voting for you if you ask me to. I'm like, that's just mean. Like, I know it's superficial, but it's just something I really want. And like, if I don't get it, it's not gonna be end of the world, but I'd at least like to know that my friends voted for me.
Yeah, I mean, it was hard that you didn't get on it, period, but then having your brother get on it, it's like, yo, like, we have the same genes, like, what the heck?
And I'm more attractive than him, so I don't I don't understand what was going on. But and then I had the same issue with my mom, because she just has sometimes where she's just like really excited because she got something. Like, it's probably something like not even that big. Like, she got new running shoes, and she's like excited. She's like dancing and like singing and stuff, and she gets so excited over it. And I just have such a hard time saying like, oh, I'm so happy for you, because I know she would say the exact same thing to me if something very minor happened in my life, but I just view it as like this great joy. But like, I don't know why, I have a hard time doing it. Maybe it's because I don't think it's that big. But
Yeah.
I just feel weird trying to force myself to say it.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I feel that same way with my family members. I wonder if that's common. Like, if everybody feels that way because we're all just a little selfish, or if it's, like, the way we were raised or something. Like, that I just can't. It's hard for me to 100% feel genuinely happy when something good happens to another person. And that might just be because, like, humans are crappy. Like, generally, like, we're all just like, okay, but, like, how does that affect me? Like, you know? And if everybody feels that way, it makes me feel a little better. But if it's just me, ooh.
Yeah, it is.
I
just made up that whole scenario just
so
to have you.
So I can admit that. That's so rough. Like, I mean, something to think about. Keep me up at night. Food for thought.
Food for thought. Real. Something else that happened. It's not even that big. I just want to feel something about it. It's not even that big. But, like, so I had work scheduled for the same time we had that prom thing. And so I wasn't originally going to go to the prom thing because I'm like, oh, I have work and I don't really want to go. But I was like, okay, it's the last prom I'll ever have. Last time I'll see, like, these people that I've known for a lot of high school. I'll just go.
Yeah.
And so I asked my boss to, like, if I could have that night off and stuff. And so he said that I could switch with someone and have them switch schedules with me. And so I talked to this one dude who he started working there a week before I did, and we talked a little bit. We barely knew each other, but my boss gave me his phone number, and so he's like, just text him, ask if we can switch. He's
but the good ones are.
He's
not. Oh, never mind.
But what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, but I texted him. He switched. He was really nice about it. And so we switched schedules. I worked in the morning because he usually opens. I usually close and stuff. That's not really important. But we switched schedules. We switched. Nice. Had similar number of hours, but we switched. That's it. And so I'm like, okay, if he ever wants to switch schedules, I'm fine. But literally, the next time I see him, he's like, ugh, I don't want to work Wednesday. Would you be willing to cover my shift? I'm like,
you didn't cover. You switched.
Yeah, like... I'm just so. I literally had to wake up at 5:45 in the morning this morning because he did not want to work today. And so I'm just like, I felt like I owed him because he switched his schedule around for me, but like I gained 5 more hours of work on a day I had the whole day off. I literally had 3 days off this week, and I was so excited because I'm like, oh, I can just relax for 3 days, and then I can just work on the weekend and all that. And I don't know, I shouldn't be angry about it, but he texted me, because he literally texted me the day before, yesterday, and he's like, hey, you can still work on Wednesday for me if you want to. I'm like, if I want to? No. If I want to. And so I'm like, yeah, if you need me to, I will. And so he's like, yeah, that'd be perfect. And so I'm like, oh. I was upset. I shouldn't be because he did help me out, but like,
so are you switched. Are you working every Wednesday now?
No, I just for today.
Okay.
But I'm just like, just ask me to switch with you. I don't have me work your time. That's just kind of lazy to me.
That happened to me at Twisted Taco. People would sorry, I am totally throwing this place under the bus. You haven't said their name, or, like, the name of your place, but, like, I hate this place, so, like, I don't mind if people give it hate or whatever. And I don't work there anymore. So, our 3 followers.
Yeah, this goes on national television.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. But anyways, I just, like, people would, like, guilt you into, like, taking their shifts. They'd be like, if you don't take my shift, I will never switch with you, or I won't, like, ever cover your shifts. Or they'll say, like, if you cover my shift now, like, next time, like, I'll, whatever you want, like, I'll do it, or, like, I'll do the hard stuff, or, like, just different, like, weird things they would say. And people would always be trying to, like, switch shifts, or, like, have people cover their shifts because nobody ever wanted to work.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucked. Like, it sucked so bad. I hated it. And towards the end of it, I was kind of like that too. I got it because I was like, this place it was like literally the worst place to work ever. And it wasn't until this summer when I like started working other jobs. Not that I've worked in customer service again, but like that I realized that like not jobs don't have to be as bad as that one was. I just thought it was like the way jobs were. They all just suck like that, but they don't. Like, it can be incredibly boring and customers can be hard, but like you don't have to have like so much like corruption and drugs and whatnot. Anyways.
Also, if the dude ever sees this, no hate. You're
No
really
hate.
chill. I was just kind of frustrated.
It was just kind of a dumb
He's
dude.
my only friend there, so
Yeah.
I kind of had to
keep the relationship going until I start working there.
Oh, I really wish. I need someone
When I
my
come
age
back.
to work there.
I will definitely work there when I come back because like the starting wage is like good, right? I'm debating like I'm gonna go out there like to college and I'm gonna see like if I want to stay until Christmas or like and just like because after Thanksgiving they're moving all their classes online, which is fine. I don't know if I'm gonna want to come back, or because the one thing really motivating me to come back would be able to see my friends.
Yeah.
And like being with my family, I guess. But I have a feeling I'm gonna be with my family for the springs, like winter. What do you call it? Spring semester. So I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. My parents have already assumed that I'm coming back for Thanksgiving, and I haven't told them that I'm thinking about not coming back for Thanksgiving because I don't want to hurt their feelings. But I feel like I'm going to get out there, I'm going to get a taste of independence, I'm going to be like, this is kind of a sweet gig. I may be broke, but at least I have my own space and my own, like, I get to be my own person for a little bit. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know how we got around to this, but...
So is this second semester virtual?
It's not, they haven't come out and said it is going to be. But I just have a feeling.
It's just interesting that the first part of it is in person, but the second part is virtual.
Well, they haven't.
Or after Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that is, yeah. I think it's because they think with the cold weather that things are going to get worse. But I think it's going to get worse immediately as soon as we get there. Because it's more so going to be, like, people being together rather than, like,
yeah, just the weather. Because the weather didn't really prove anything. Cause
we thought it was all going to go away with the summer. And, it might get worse with the cold weather and people getting other kinds of, like, what do you call it? Like, sickness with, what do you call it? Your lungs. Respiratory sicknesses, because those are more common in the winter and stuff. And, like, that might have an effect with, like, coronavirus and stuff, because, like, the corona doesn't necessarily lead to it can lead to worsening of respiratory sickness, or whatever. I don't sound like a doctor either, or whatever, but anyways. So yeah, it's like halfway in person, halfway in online. The majority of my classes are online, and with the schedule I have right now, so.
Are, your brothers, what's Whitewater doing?
From the plan now is that twice a week, I believe they'll be going in school in person. Okay. And they'll be wearing masks, but they're mostly doing it twice a week, it's important to have in-person instruction, I think.
Yeah.
And then they need time to, like, sanitize the school in between. And then everything else is going to be online. Which I think is a pretty good compromise. I watched this video with, you know who Dr. Mike is? He's like a doctor who has a YouTube video. And he was talking with another doctor about, like, returning to schools, particularly K through 12, like, those ages. And they kind of said that, like, there's two sides. And there's one side where we know what's going to happen, and there's one side where there's things that we could project may happen. So the stuff we know is going to happen is stuff we've already experienced because we shut down schools and kids were out of school. And we know, like, statistically, there was an increase in, like, depression and anxiety in young children and a lack of, like, social interaction, and kids who depend on schools for food were suffering. Parents lost jobs and there was a lot of stress in families. Kids who live in abusive households were there longer. Like, a lot of those factors, like, were really amplified with quarantine. And then we don't know what happens when kids go back to school and we're taking these measures and stuff, but the coronavirus is still happening. So we could project that numbers are going to spike in, like, crazy, and that teachers are going to die and things like that. And, like, we can't say it's not going to happen, but we also don't have data backing up that it absolutely will. Mm-hmm. So it's like choosing between things we know, like, people are suffering from, and choosing between things that may happen. Because kids could get sent to school and, like, it might increase, but it might not go as crazy as we think it is going to be. Yeah. So it's hard to... We know that there are negative outcomes from keeping kids home. But we only can project that there will be negative outcomes from sending them back. So it just depends on what side that you're on. If you have kids... And, like, I've come from a household with a kid who has special needs. And it's hard. Like, we need him to be in school for him to learn correctly. Because at home, he's just not getting the same kind of education. And it's really, really hard. And I have a brother who's very young. And he has a really hard time. For those two, I absolutely say they need to go back to school. But again, I also have two other brothers who did just fine staying at home. So, you know, like, it's... I can see how some people are like, don't do it. Like, don't send kids back to school. It's just going to increase numbers. But I can also really understand where people are coming from when they're like, I would rather risk this knowing that my kid's not going to suffer from this anymore. You know? Yeah. Like, it's tough. But... And as far as college goes... I don't know, because I feel like college kids are messy. I feel like it's going to be a bit of a, I don't know, not everybody's crazy, but I'm worried, like, I talked to, like, somebody about this, but, like, can you picture, like, frat boys, like, being like, all right, guys, before you hit that keg, let's sanitize this down. You know, let's take a step back and really think about what we're doing here. Like, it just... There's gonna be people who make really dumb decisions when we go back to college.
Yeah. I think I'm just scared of... Because kids are just very vicious. And so it's just like... there's, like, a bunch of people making TikToks on it. And saying that, like, people, like, will make jokes about saying, like, oh, I'm gonna... spit on someone or something. Yeah. Just, like, to threaten them. And it's just going to be another form of bullying. That's my main fear. It's just kids are just not nice. And they're going to say, like, oh,
kind of like the cheese touch.
Yeah, the cheese touch, but make it deadly.
I've heard, like, things like kids are going to go back and they're going to be like, I like your mask, let's trade.
Yeah.
And then they're going to trade masks. Or people are going to be like, or spit in their hand and, like, run and chase people around. Yeah. Like, I have the coronavirus. And people are going to be like... So...
Like, they don't realize how serious it is.
Yeah. And, I mean, I hate saying this because, like, but again, I hate putting people into statistics, but the people dying are 65 and older. There is a risk with kids that young, and if I were a parent, of course I'm not, so it's hard for me to say, I would probably take the risk of that small percentage, you know, like, and just send my kids to school, because I just feel like that social interaction and, like, that in-person education is just so important at that development stage. And I hate... I don't know. It's just it's a sticky
it's very
place.
Sticky
Personally, I'm for school going back in person, even if it's just twice a week, and or if they rotate the number of kids or whatever else. I just from my personal experience, I've had a very, like, particular experience, like everybody has in this. So, and again, I can see why people don't want to go back to school, and why people do. Personally, I'm for it, but there's not going to be a 100% correct answer. There's not a right and wrong in this situation. Yeah. There really isn't, because there's a lot of factors. And then also they talked about with the doctors, they talked about, like, not every school has the resources to go back the way that the CDC has put out that they should, like all those guidelines, because not every school has, with all of this extra cleaning and all of these extra cleaning supplies and everything, not every school has that money, not every school has that, like, who's going to be doing the extra cleaning? Who's going to be doing these screenings and taking the temperature of all these kids? Like, you need extra hands for that, and not every school has the resources nor the money to provide that for all of the kids. So it's really, I don't know, it's very, like, they also said, it's very particular to every single place. Like, you're not gonna, this one path that works for a county in California is not gonna work for Fayette County. Mm-hmm. Like, it just, I don't know why I'm debating this, because, like, it doesn't really, like, I have no say in this whatsoever, and I don't have kids.
Trump, if you're watching this, listen here,
take
buddy.
notes, because I've got all the answers.
Mm-hmm. It's just embarrassing to be in America, because all these other countries, they're perfectly fine going back to school.
Really tough.
But it's just,
we're
still
out.
Over here, like, we're still rising, but, like, I literally saw a graph, and it was just, like, total cases, and so U.S. was, like, this much, and then, like, next was, like, Canada or something, and it's, like,
it's
what?
So
That's
rough.
Just embarrassing. It's not just population, it's just people don't care.
What ticks me off, this is, like, I could get into this, because what happened with other countries is when it happened, like, when they started getting increasing cases, they shut the heck down.
There was no debate about it.
There was no, like, nobody was, like, protesting the coronavirus, because that's ridiculous. They shut it down, and they shut it down until numbers started decreasing. Mm-hmm. They didn't just shut it down until they were tired of it.
Oh. Yes? No, she said that she couldn't. Good night.
Your mom could guest star. Yeah, anyways. But, what was I saying? And so, but, like, what happened with America, we did shut down, and there was probably, like, a week where everybody was pretty respectful. Mm-hmm. Everybody was like, you know what, like, this is serious. Let's really, like, calm this down. But then people started getting tired of it, and people started getting upset because they're missing out on their hot girl summer. And so everybody, like, people started going out and not wearing masks and doing things, even though, like, this was, numbers were still rising. Yeah. And then, like, Georgia opened up, even though numbers were still rising. And now the country's opened up, but we had no reason to.
Yeah.
And now numbers are spiking, and we're like, oh my gosh, like, why is this happening? It's because we didn't, like, correct the problem in the first place. And now we're in this sucky situation where we've already missed out on the months that we were in quarantine, and because we went back too early, numbers are spiking again. So we're in this weird limbo where we aren't going to go back to quarantining, but we're not completely going back into, like, how life used to be or whatever. So numbers are still going to rise, but we're still being inconvenienced by, like, having to, like, missing out on things and not doing these social things that other countries aren't having to do as much because we were just impatient. Mm-hmm. And so it sucks that unless we shut the country down again and we just start over, numbers are going to continue to rise. Exactly. So either we, like, have two options, otherwise we're stuck in this weird limbo where, like, everybody's suffering and nothing's getting done. Either we return back to, like, how things were, you can wear masks and, like, be more responsible and just wash your hands, like, be hygienic. Like, it's so
hand sanitizer not gonna do it. You need to wash your hands.
Like, it's so simple. Like, the answer is so simple, but, like, and we just need to accept the consequence because we've already made this mistake. Exactly. And numbers are going to rise regardless. Let's stop, like, having to suffer in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
We already chose not to quarantine, and I don't think America could do it. Like, unfortunately, even though that's the best option,
Mm-hmm.
we're not going to be able to do it correctly. So we just need to accept the risk, quarantine people who are at high risk, and just go back to normal life, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. I don't want that to be the reality,
Mm-hmm.
but ultimately, like, we're not, even if you are taking precautions, we're not doing anything because we didn't do enough in the beginning.
Yeah. And it's just, I feel like I know, but I'm trying to figure out what is so different about America than literally Canada. Like, we have very similar values. But what is so different about us than them? But I think it's just because we have this just I have a lot of words in my head. We just have this weird obsession with the idea of freedom.
We have, like, unprecedented pride about our country.
And it's just like, if I can't go outside showing my smile, I don't want to. Or, like, it feels like I am disgracing myself. And just, like, it's just people are so obsessed with their freedom that they don't care about other people suffering at your freedom, because of your freedom.
This is something that's very, like, this topic, it gets me it's a very sensitive topic, and I think because personally, like, I believe that this is, I don't want to say it in an offensive way, but I believe, like, this is, in the Bible, it talks about, like, a chosen land, if you will, God's country. I hate saying it like that because it's always used in such a weird, like, negative connotation that every other country is, like, the worst, because that's not true at all. I believe that this country was set apart in the beginning for a wise purpose. However, and, like, I also, this phrase, like, I'm proud to be an American, I agree with that phrase, but I don't agree with the connotation that it's been used as, like, for the last however many years. Because I love America. I love this country because of its ideals and the abilities that I have in this country that I wouldn't have in so many third world countries. I haven't traveled that much, but I know from just, like, learning that, like, I am very blessed to live in this country for lots of reasons, just as many people are blessed to live in, like, there's not just this country that you're blessed to live in. I just have a lot of freedoms that I wouldn't have living in other places. However, I think people, like I said before, have this unprecedented perspective of, like, pride in their country, where it's like, they can't look at their country and see its faults, if that makes sense. I think there's a difference between, like, being prideful and in a bad way, and being prideful in a way that's, like, you accept the country, all of its good and all of its bad, and then you continue to work on the bad, if that makes sense. And then there's people who are blinded to the bad and believe that everything that this country does, everything that its leaders stand for, is perfect and good and godly. I do not believe that whatsoever. I believe that this country makes crappy mistakes, and but I also believe that it was founded for a good reason and for a good purpose, and I believe that the purpose has been lost, and I believe that, like, this country has so much potential. It really does. It has so much good potential, and I think people are throwing it away by saying, I'm proud to be an American, for the wrong reasons. Like, I hope I'm expressing myself well enough, because, like, I don't like it when people are so negative about America and say that they would just rather, like, see the country burn and move somewhere else. I feel like that is very unpatriotic. Like, I get it if you just want to move away, you don't want to live here, but, like, when you're so, like, belligerent about it, because I think the most patriotic thing you can do is, like, look at your country and want to work on it and want it to be better. And I think that's the true meaning of patriotism and stuff. And so I am patriotic about my country because I love the things it offers, and I want it to offer the most it can for everybody, if that makes sense. Sorry, I keep talking, but
it does.
I just don't want to sound like I'm some, like, southern, like,
no.
Merca, pow pow, because I'm not. But I'm also not someone who would be like, I hate America. America sucks because we're racist and we're dumb. Like, it just... Because there are people who are racist and who are dumb. But that's not... It doesn't have to be like that. Yeah. And I don't want it to be like that.
Yeah.
Anyways. Sorry,
I
that was
concur
long.
Wholeheartedly. I was talking to Nigel about this, and so he's like... He asked me... What question was it? He was like, do you agree with what America stands for? And so I said there's two different types of America.
Yes.
There's one where it is the actual melting pot that we claim we are, where we appreciate cultures and we just love everyone despite our backgrounds and differences.
Yeah.
But there's the America that just says we're that, but doesn't act on it, and we...
I think that's the loudest America, too.
It's definitely the loudest America, and it's just... They are... So, they say that they love America because we're so diverse, but we're not. Like, they don't appreciate the diversity.
Yeah.
And they don't take the time to help other people. It's just basically the All Lives Matter America. Just saying, like, oh, I love all of America. And they refuse to look at where we're suffering.
Yes.
But it just... Sorry, I have such a hard time speaking. But...
No, I get it. It's hard to, like... This is such a weird... There's so many mixed feelings about this. Because, like, it is our country. Like, it's where we grew up.
Yeah.
And the fact that we can even, like,
say talk about this.
Because there are many countries, if not the majority of countries, where this would be very hard to do. Yeah.
And I do agree that it is... I am fortunate to live in America. I have had many, many times where I'm like, get out. But I think I'd rather stay here and put in the work, even if my contribution is, like, tiny, because I think as a whole, this generation can do so much change.
It has a lot of potential.
Because racism is not going to end in 100 years. Sorry, got choked up. It's not going to end anytime soon, because everyone is always going to have prejudices and just be weirded out about people that are different from them. That's just natural. That's just a natural human trait. But I think we can get to the point where it's widely taboo to be racist. Because right now, it is, people don't want to be called racist, but they are racist. And that's where we are right now. But I want to be where you are anti-racist and you are actively working with other people and working to help the Black community, the Hispanic community, Asian community, all that, and white community, because they need some work too. And just appreciating each other for our differences, and we don't have to say Black Lives Matter, or that's just a historical movement.
It's just like
we don't have to, and we can actually say facts. All lives matter without it being like against Black Lives Matter.
Yeah, that's a very good way. That's a good way of putting it.
But I don't think that's going to happen for a really long time.
This generation, like Gen Z, I liked the stereotype where, not stereotype, that's not the word I'm looking for, like the TikToks where it'd be like Gen Z when like their order's wrong and we're just like, oh, thank you, this is so delicious. And like Gen Z when you infringe on someone's basic human rights, like I will burn down your house, I will like that is my favorite thing because it's so like, it's very true.
Yeah.
And I like that this has kind of brought out Generation Z, like, because before now I don't think there was a lot of like conversation because we were younger. And now that we're kind of getting older and all of this stuff is happening, we're able to kind of like step up and show that like this is a pretty cool generation to be a part of, in my opinion. Because first of all, I think we're hilarious.
Yes,
like
it's the funniest I've ever seen.
Honestly. And then second of all, like I think we have we're in a really nice niche where like we can see like we aren't so far from the past that we are able to like really learn from it and really like see its application in our lives, but we also the world's changing so fast, so we're also looking forward to the future, and so we're in this like, we are all asking the question like, what are we gonna do about it?
Yeah.
And like, what is our place in this? And so in this transitional like time period, so it's really cool to be a part of it, and I like seeing people my age kind of like, I don't know, like be adults and like have these opinions that years ago would have been outrageous. And like it's really cool. I like being part of Gen Z and stuff, and because you know, like I feel like boomers aren't necessarily super. If I were a boomer, I'd be like boomer who, but I like being able to say that I'm part of Gen Z and stuff like that. So it's cool.
It's cool. Okay. I don't know if you see the time.
What? Plus we had like an hour before this too.
It was like 20 minutes.
Oh really?
I slept at like almost 30 minutes.
Oh, okay, so we can split this up into 2 parts.
Yeah,
or
it
something.
could be a 2-parter. I could probably make it a 3-parter.
Yeah, honestly. I feel like we talked about good stuff.
We talked about really good stuff. It's gonna be titled "We Talk About Racism."
Okay. Racism.
I'm gonna say goodbye.
Okay.
Bye, guys, and then we can move on.
Bye.